Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the latest in this series of Meet the Head. It's good to have you with us. I suppose I'd probably start by pointing out something that might be blindingly obvious, that Embley is about the formation of children before it's about anything else. That is as true for the oldest students in our sixth form as it is for the children in nursery reception. And you might say, well, what about academics? What about knowing stuff? What about filling their minds full of all kinds of information, facts and so forth? And yeah, that's fair enough. But it all too often, I think it's common to see children sometimes as disembodied minds. But what does it profit you if you know the price of everything, but you have no value in yourself? Embley is about exactly that, developing that sense of value, developing that lived reality of purposefulness, that every child is valued for themselves with all of their own unique giftedness. Now, a couple of points probably to remember is that joining the Embley family, you'll see yourselves and your children go through a very extended process. In fact, the process will see you all the way through to university. And obscene as it might appear to you now, you can take it from me. I've done it 3 times personally, and I don't know how many times professionally, but that particular journey is a great deal faster than you might think. A long line of our head boys and head girls have started where you guys are now, coming out of nursery through reception, through the prep school. They're now studying architecture, material sciences, and so forth. It comes all too quickly. A colleague very recently sent me a card after the birth of her son, and it said, we're looking forward, myself and my husband and family, to getting to know this new child. I think it's an important phrase, because it's totally appropriate that we think and speak of getting to know the children in our care as much as they get to know themselves, and better still, to grow into themselves. In my distant past, I was educated by a fine bunch of Augustinian monks, God love them, and they had a founding principle, that you are what you can become. Well, it's Embley's purpose to allow you to become what you are. And with that, I'll hand you over to my colleagues in the prep.
Right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sheina Wright, and I am lucky enough to be head of Embley Prep. I'm going to talk to you about early years education, and our experts, Tracy Sackery, who is our nursery manager, and Catherine Steinbrecker, our reception teacher, will be on hand to answer questions at the end of this presentation. Both are outstanding specialists with vast knowledge and experience and are adored by children and parents alike at Embley. They work with a skilled team of staff to really make the magic happen. If you want to be inspired and have a sprinkling of joy in your day, nursery and reception is certainly where you head, and it's certainly where I do as well. Establishing the right conditions for learning is perhaps the most important aspect of a happy prep school. From 2 all the way through to 11, a sense of belonging is key. At Embley, we prioritise the happiness and well-being of our children above all else. After all, happy children thrive. If I could have the next slide, please. In both nursery and reception, there's a real focus on creating a happy, safe and secure environment for our children. As a parent, it's a big step to put your trust in others to look after the well-being and development of your child. Building really good relationships with parents is really important to us. At Embley Prep, we pride ourselves on creating a warm, friendly home from home feel. Parents feel they can talk to the whole team, children get to know all the staff in the nursery, and then transition is easier because they know everyone. Parents often very quickly increase the number of sessions because the children are so happy and settled. If I could have the next slide, please. Communication is key. In nursery, Dayshare is used to send daily notes to parents, settling in pictures and comments. It gives snippets of their day, which includes nappy changing, what they've eaten, sleep they've had, any bumps, and all those essential pieces of information about your child's day and well-being. This is further enhanced with notes and pictures so that you can enjoy your child's experience while they're with us too. There's a communication book which stays in your child's book bag, and it's another way of passing on messages. In the morning, there might be a quick handover, and if your child hasn't slept well and any other snippets of information you want to give us, for example, we can give them then the best care we can during the day. In reception, Mrs. Steinbrecher advises that the reading record book can be a good place to leave a message. But also, really importantly, feel free to talk to her at the end of the day, the start of the day, and she'll also always be happy to give you a call too. Because that bond that we build with parents is so important. It's your school too, after all, and we're all part of that Embley community. If I could have the next slide, please. So starting reception, settling children into school is a big part of what we do at Embley Prep. Usually transition sessions begin in the summer term for reception, where children and their family come in for an hour and familiarise themselves with the school and the classroom. There are around 3 visits, and these sessions can include anything from story time to a nature walk. This enables families to get used to their new environment and for parents and children to feel a part of the Embley community. This facilitates parents being able to meet each other too. Then, from September, they are ready to join the school and raring to go. All children are greeted by me at the main entrance every day, and in the first week, parents can drop off into the classroom. The second week, they drop off at the classroom door, and in the third week, we aim for them to come in independently. If they're having a wobble, Mrs. Steinbrecher will call and reassure you, as we understand that you may appreciate the reassurance as much as your child. All of our reception children currently hop and jump and skip into school, and we had one young lady rabbit hopping all the way through to the playground this morning. Teachers help the children to settle really quickly, but equally we'll look after nervous starters with nurture and a gentle approach. I could have the next slide, please. Learning at Embley starts from the minute your child steps through the door. In nursery, our 2-year-olds join the caterpillar room, where they cover the 3 prime areas of learning: communication and language, physical development, and personal, social and emotional development. This creates a good foundation so that they can build on their learning and explore other areas of the curriculum. Every child is an individual and seen as such. Early childhood education is about tapping into that awe and wonder, channeling curiosity, promoting creativity. We focus on making learning bespoke to them and focus on their interests. For example, if one of them comes in with a dinosaur that they adore, then this will be factored into our planning. Or if there's a new baby in the family, we can look after the dolls like a newborn. There's a combination of child-initiated and adult-led learning, which we feel is really important. One of the many benefits of being a 2 to 18 school and a whole school is access to specialist teaching. In nursery, our children enjoy having specialist teachers for PE, music, and from and a year later, French lessons when they're 3. When your child learns to read, it's a very special time. In nursery, we introduce and follow a synthetic phonics approach, specifically read, write, ink phonics from 3. So this is a fun way to explore sounds through songs and rhymes. This builds to more formal lessons in reception. However, if your nursery child is really warming to phonics, we ensure that they're stretched and challenged through additional phonics sessions in reception for them. In reception, children have a daily phonics session in differentiated groups with year 1 and 2. We appreciate your support from home to pronounce the sounds correctly, and children pick up phonics at different rates, including blending, so we support them individually. During weeks 2 and 3 in reception, reading books are given out, and we encourage parents to listen to reading and fill in the reading record book. That relationship between parents and our early years and Key Stage 1 team is important and valued. You are part of that learning journey. The learning journey itself is like a scrapbook. We make observations as we follow the EYFS curriculum and share it with you at Parents' Evening. We encourage parents to take part in completing it too. In reception, prime areas continue to be communication and language, which includes listening and attention, understanding and speaking, physical development, which is moving and handling, health and self-care, and personal and social development, which is about managing feelings and behaviour, making relationships, self-confidence, self-awareness and boundaries. If I could have the next slide, please. Broader learning in reception is topic-based. Literacy, reading and writing takes on many forms. Mark making is early writing. So just like phonics, children learn at different rates and need to build skills as well as knowledge. All of the following will help to build those skills and form part of learning at Embley. So lots of big movement, use of a pen and whiteboard, big chunky chalks on the playground, painting fingers in sand or rice, cotton buds, rubbing out letters on a whiteboard. They all aid the development of fine motor skills, as does the use of tweezers, pegboards and elastic bands and Play-Doh. Children are reading books and writing by the end of the year, and it's very exciting, and a very exciting journey that we can all be part of as they become readers and writers. In maths, children participate in lots of practical activities, and many of those take part as part of their daily routine, so whether that be lining up, measuring or counting water bottles. In understanding the world, the children learn about people and communities, the world and technology. And from reception, they have access to iPads to use to enhance their learning, including the use of a digital library. In expressive arts, they use a range of materials and their imaginations, and the focus is very much on making them altogether a well-rounded young people who shine in different areas and are presented with a wealth of opportunity to aspire and achieve. Reception children also receive that specialist teaching, as well as a lesson which is about exploring nature and the woodland called Learning Outside the Classroom. If I can have the next slide, please. At Nursery, we aim to be outside as much as we can be, to explore the grounds, take in the natural environment, working with natural materials and going on nature walks, collecting, exploring, and exploring those 130 acres that we like to call home. In reception, in normal times, trips in the summer and spring term are based around topic and have included trips to Marwell Zoo and the Watercress Line. We also begin to introduce them to co-curricular opportunities, which we try and make sure we balance because they do get tired in those first years at school, and this offer develops as they move through the school. On offer to reception at the moment are clubs such as football and pottery. If I could have the next slide, please. So from 2 years, we aim for our children to aim for the stars, build their sense of self-belief and belief in others, and start to recognise that they are part of something bigger, a wider community and a diverse world. This focus runs through the entire school. We all have so much to learn from our very youngest pupils and work hard to build on and cultivate that innate sense of awe and wonder right the way through to prep school and beyond. Thank you very much. Okay, I'd now like to hand over to Tracy and Catherine, who really are the experts in this field. I'm sure you'll enjoy hearing from them both. Thank you.
Hi, so we've had a few questions through. The first one, perhaps if we start with what's meant by, the parents asked, what do you mean by child initiated play?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome. Thank you. My name is Tracy Sackley, nursery manager here. Child initiated play means that actually the child actually chooses what they would like to go and play with. And they focus their attention on that. So as I say, it's really a case of the child actually being able to choose the things they would like to go and do. Thank you.
In reception, hi, I'm Catherine Steinbrecher. In reception, we move it on slightly and we call it challenge time. So they can go and choose a challenge that has been set up, and we do some inside the classroom, some outside the classroom that link to all of those areas, whether they're reading, writing, number, art, creative. There's lots of different things for them to choose a challenge from.
Great, thank you. And can you perhaps just describe what a typical day looks like in nursery and reception?
Okay, in nursery, again, every day is different. It really does depend on whether we have any specialist teaching, but generally children come in, they're welcomed in the morning. We have, again, different classrooms that will be either child initiated and adult initiated activities put out for them. So either that's the parents bringing their children in and taking part in various activities. or as I say, sort of the children choosing what activities they'd like to actually partake in. And then later on, when they come into the butterfly room, it will be a case of that we have slightly more structured part of the day. So we have things like our phonics and our maths, set times for those to stretch and challenge the children there. And then, as I say, sort of we have a lot of child initiated time as well, so they have their free choice. We have PE sessions, music sessions and French lessons as well, that take up part of our week. And as I say, sort of between sort of lunchtime, snack times and everything, then in the afternoons we have topic-based learning going on as well. So again, it could be whatever topic that our children are interested in, then we actually have a range of activities out that they become included in. So and reception?
In reception, it gets a little bit more formal, but not by much. They start, again, after the first couple of weeks, they come in with the rest of the school. We try to encourage that they are part of big school. They are part of that community. So they go onto the playground with the older children. They start to build relationships with the children in year 1 and year 2, so that they've kind of got buddies. And then we do a lot about daily routine. So they will come in from the playground like everybody else. They will come in, they will find their name, they will find their coats, they will take ownership over their things. They will be able to put their water bottles away, get their reading books out. A lot of it is developing their confidence in being in school, really. That's our aim for reception, is that by the end of the year they feel comfortable in school. So we have a very settled morning. They come in, they practice their name, they practice their writing, and then we do our phonics time, which again, like Miss Wright said, it links with year 1 and year 2. So that's our formal session, really, where they're learning a new sound and they write with it, they have some new words that start with it, or kind of depending on how it is. So that's our formal phonics session, and then there'll be some story time and we'll discuss a book for our literacy lesson, really. But again, at the same time, they are doing challenges. So there'll be a very short carpet session from me, or a teacher directed, as I'd call it. And then they can go off individually and choose a challenge. And I or my TA will work with children 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, 1-to-3 in small groups, so that we can really focus and challenge them further. Then we have a snack time, which is provided by our lovely kitchen, and they get some amazing options. They are often very jealous about what our children get to have for snack, and so they all sit at the table. And this time we can encourage good table manners. It's kind of waiting for when everybody's settled, waiting for everybody to wash their hands, and how we converse at the same time as eat something is kind of, we're really teaching how to have those, how to become a little person, really. It's all those things. So we do that, and then they have playtime with everybody else from the big school. So again, in normal times, they'd go out onto the playground and they'd be with everybody else. Obviously, some children find this a little bit scary and some children wobble, but actually there's always adults on hand to watch over and look over the younger ones. And actually most of the time they're running out before anybody else can even stop them. They're having the best time and they won't want to come back in. So that's always really encouraging. We then kind of come back in, like the session between snack and lunch, and we do kind of a mathsy type activity. Again, as Miss Wright said, it's all very practical. It's all, I had one parent that said, I don't think you're doing maths because my child hasn't said anything about sitting down and writing numbers. And it's that, no, it's because it's all very practical. They don't really realise they're doing it, which is actually, we want them to we want them not to realise that they're learning, because then it's just learning in life is kind of how we do it. And so then there'll be some teacher directed, and they'll be able to go and then do some more challenge time at the same time. And then we have lunch, where they are able to go and choose from again a wonderful range of dinner choices. And again, it's how we're teaching them how to sit at a table and eat sensibly and talk to their friends at the same time. And they get to see their friends from other classes at this opportunity as well. And then they get to go out and have playtime with everybody else, which is really lovely. And then in the afternoon, we have some more kind of teacher directed, normally topic based, kind of where I will model something, whether it's art, whether it's learning outside the classroom, whether it's more practical building, something like that, and then they can go off and have free challenge time. And obviously dotted throughout that, we have our specialised teaching of PE, music, French, all those things at the same time. And then at the end of the day, the children leave very happy out through our external doors like everybody else does. And it's that thing of they are in charge of getting their things ready for home time. They are in charge of finding all their coats, book bags, water bottles. So actually it's really teaching them to take ownership right from the very beginning.
Brilliant, thank you. You answered one of the questions that we had, which was around snacks and lunch. That's brilliant. Could I just ask, in terms of the topics, you mentioned that, what sort of topics do they cover in reception?
So in reception, we are doing this year, we are doing people who help us and kind of all about me, which is a really lovely topic to start the year with, because it's talking about families, it's talking about jobs, it's talking about how to keep us safe, who's in our house, what we want to be when we grow up, all of those kind of things. That's a really lovely topic. And we're doing about so we've done firemen, we've done police, we'll do vets, we'll do farmers, kind of all sorts of different jobs. So that's one of our topics. We do traditional tales, so fairy tales, all of the traditional tales that we would call like Three Little Pigs and Goldilocks and Three Bears and those ones. That's a lovely storytelling topic and is a really good one for the second term when they've when the children have got a bit more confidence about their writing and they really know how to write a story, and there's a lot of drama involved and they do lots of acting out, and that's a really lovely one to kind of see how they've developed from September to kind of January time. And then we do one all about animals as well, where we can incorporate kind of going outside and what other animals there are in the world. And then we do kind of in the summer term, we do a travel and kind of changes topic where we kind of prepare for transition into year one and things like that.
Great, thank you. And again, something you touched on, but we've had a question around life beyond reception and how you prepare children for year one and above.
Yeah, so again, we're very fortunate enough that our classroom is opposite the year 1-2 area, so actually they are always seeing our year 1-2 teachers, they are seeing those staff, they are seeing those pupils around, so actually that really helps develop that relationship when somebody's just walking past and they can go hi, and so that's a really good way to just build the relationship really naturally. And then in the summer term we do some very focused transition times, but also our learning outside the classroom session, so our lock walks we go with year 1 and 2. We do the nativity with them as well, so actually there's lots of opportunity to build those relationships so that the children are ready to go into that new environment. And as the year progresses, so in the final term of summer, learning does become a little bit more structured to get them ready for the jump into year 1, because that is when it becomes a little bit more structured and they are expected to sit and write a little bit more and sit and write a bit more maths and things like that. So again, we work with the children at their level.
Great, thank you. And something that I know Miss Wright touched on about the parent communication channels, but I wondered if there was anything. We've had a question about how do you keep parents informed about how children are developing and any issues. I know Miss Wright's touched on it. I just wondered if you both wanted to elaborate on it a bit more.
Yeah, in nursery, then we have rightly said by Mrs. Wright, about a communication book that's kept in the normally in the child's bag, so they bring it in every day. So it's an opportunity for parents to actually just give us any information that they feel is important so that we can give the best care that we could possibly give a child during the day. So whether it's they've had a bad night or somebody else is collecting them. But we also use a system called Parenta. And on Parenta, we have part of Parenta is actually called Day Share, which means that we actually send out electronically each day a bit of information about what your child has been doing and what they've been taking part in. So just to give you a little bit of a snippet, it also tells you on there things like nappy changes, what they've eaten for lunch. So all those really important bits of information that you need to know as a parent when you're collecting your child that you'll have there. So as I say, sort of that's how we generally give information, but of course the most important thing that we do is communicate at the door, either dropping off or picking up. So as I say, it's building those relationships with parents, and as I say, sort of having those conversations with parents verbally is the most important way in nursery. So, and in reception?
I was going to say, in reception, we don't really have, parenta, so we are much more based on face-to-face conversations or emails or phone calls with parents. Actually, we have our reading records, and that's a really good way to say, oh, can I grab you at the end of the day? Or can you check your email? I've sent you an email about something. If I have something that I need to share, I will always either phone a parent or I will grab them at the end of the day. But something that's happened throughout the day, I would rather tell the parent there and then rather than get an email or something like that. So that's how we do it in reception. Again, if it's children wobbling or things like that, actually, I would much rather phone you to settle your minds rather than you have to wait until the end of the day to find out whether they were okay or not. So in the beginning of the year, it is there's a lot of communication. There's just kind of a quick email or a quick phone call of, yes, they're doing great. And it kind of tails off throughout the year. And then in terms of development and kind of progress, we have parents' evenings throughout the year, and that's kind of our opportunity to sit down, go through their learning journeys, talk about where they are. But actually, if a parent has got a question about it, I'm always happy to answer a question face-to-face, a question via email, or a question via phone. So actually, any option is a really good option in reception.
That's wonderful, thank you. And that comes to the end of our questions. Mr. Canning, would you like to say anything further?
I don't know how I can add to that. When I heard Catherine and Tracy go through a day in the life of the children, I thought for a heartbeat that I was busy, and I'm now thinking, what am I doing with my time? It's extraordinary. It's very fair barge. I mean, I think Tracy mentioned that there isn't perhaps a typical day, and I'm delighted to contribute to that degree of atypicalness in turning up and speaking to the children, which I love. One point I would raise though is that I ran a philosophy session with the children some weeks ago, and the depth of their thinking and the elasticity which they were able to apply their minds to complex ideas was just humbling and really, really wonderful. So it's quite a little dream factory these guys have got going on in the prep, and it is a constant source of wonder and delight. But I think we probably have come to the end of our time and our questions. Thank you all very, very much for the questions that you've sent in. I know there's a significant number of mums and dads who haven't been able to join us at 2 o'clock, but they're going to tune in for the recording of this. So for us, for now, and from everybody in the prep school, thank you very much for joining us, and goodbye, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.